Reserve time.
Alright guys, they did it. They pulled out a win to force a game 3 out of top 5. Top 5 took game 1. eHug takes game 2. My microphone pop filter just fell. I'm gonna let you take over.
Man, just actually, sorry, catch me at an awkward moment finishing up the last game and trying to run at least one advertisement before we get
my
started.
pop filter like literally is at a perfect balance, so if I hit it, it just falls, and it probably made a really loud noise, so I apologize, guys.
You're just the worst. Gosh.
I am the worst.
I know. AA finally banned out. We won't see him again. He wasn't on fire last game, I have to say. So not used to his fullest potential. Maybe could have been top 5, not able to hash that one out as a result. They give game 2 to eHug, who looks to be on the ball. They've been ahead at the beginning of games, which kind of, to me, when you see that happen 2 games in a row, maybe if we see it a 3rd game in the row, their systems might just be better in the early game in terms of how they're able to last hit and utilize the map to a more full potential. So I think that kind of digs into, you know, just the basics of the game. Their basics might be stronger suited than is top 5, but where top 5 really shines isn't so much how they execute their early game, but it's how they kind of have this intangible team fight that you don't seem to measure. And as a result, they were able to take away game 1, nearly squeaked to game 2, but they had no presence not being on the dire side around the Roshan pit, which spiraled into being their bane, and they got caught essentially out in the middle of nowhere with no vision on that high ground, and they came from Roshan and they just conquered all 5 of them plus more due to buyback. So interesting game 1 all around.
I feel like it should have been a different hero other than the Doom. The Doom was the last pickup, and I felt like if you had picked a harder carry, you could have turtled that game up and defended long enough for that carry to be stronger than the Sardar that eHug had. So I wasn't a fan of the Doom pick. I don't think he made a really big impact on that game.
Maybe that is indeed fair to say. Visage, Invoker, and Bane, all again familiar customers to this particular match, I guess, this evening. I wish we could have seen a Nature's Prophet, though, I have to say.
I know, you always want to see a Nature's Prophet, but
you know that you can't run from heaven was the coolest strat we've gotten to cast this season.
That was a really fun game. But in terms of good games, though, I feel like this set has been pretty good so far, just because it has been really close. And it's interesting because they have been such close games, it was literally the matter of like 2 fights that really won the game. I mean, like we saw last game, top 5 didn't even have their racks down yet, and they called GG because they knew that those like 2 fights, the one in their base and the one right after that, was just it. They knew that they couldn't come back from that, even though they were fighting for most of the game. But the track kills kind of finally came into play, and there was just some really good initiations from Ryu on that Batrider. It was really good. Sardar followed that up so nicely too. If you try to run in there to save whatever hero got lassoed, you potentially group up and be subject to that Sardar stomp. So I feel like it was a really good draft for eHug. They drafted really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think the Doom was necessarily their downfall. It was how they utilized him, and you said he's not that tanky, but he was insanely tanky. He had mech, Shivas, he had everything he ever wanted to live in the team fights, and a lot of it just had to deal with, in my opinion, poor execution. Had they landed some of those AA ults, you saw how long it took them to pull back Doom. When they initiated that fight, Doom had his BKB on, he gets lassoed, he takes no damage, they start taking down every single one of eHug's heroes. They just couldn't finish as Jiggle kind of tore through the rest of their lineup. So it's unfortunate it evolved the way it did, in my opinion, but I don't think the Doom pick was that poor. I think it just came down to not quite landing those AA ultimates, at least for me, and I don't want to be too critical of whatever. It's just there were so many instances where it missed, and it just wasn't his game for that particular hero at all.
Yeah, I agree. And it came down to the initiations too. They got on top of these team fights, and like you said, Doom was tanky. But we're in this game, so let's go ahead and talk about this draft a little bit more. Nixon, Storm Spirit banned out, Doom and Puck banned out. Slark picked up. This is going to be a really fun game. Slark provides a lot of rotations for our team and movement within the map, and he's kind of scary to go up against. So I'm excited to see this Slark picked up. So is this going to be a mid lane Slark?
10 seconds.
No, he's gonna farm. Okay. He plays the hard carry role normally. I think that he provides a good mid game element that other heroes aren't necessarily able to provide. If you're not able to get some quick brown boots onto your supports, if they don't utilize the jungle well enough, you will see him walk all kinds of all over them. So it's gonna be a worry if they go to pick up a CM here, because he's able to eat through easy in that particular 5 role, and that is the normal coupling partner for the 5 role when you pick up a Visage on 4 slot. It's not necessary. Yes, you can go ahead and shy away from that, but even if they pick it up, they're just going to have to be careful. Clock finally makes it through as a result of the ban being exchanged on Batrider, as well as Mirana ban away. So 2 more heroes kind of filter in that we haven't gotten a chance to cast yet. And I like what he provides in and off lane, especially when teams from the Americas play them, because they play it so very aggressive. You see a hero like MSS Clockwork just really get on top of people. There's so much that he can provide to an element in terms of initiation, as well as Invoker following it up. And while Invoker is a great initiation hero, it just affirms that something like a Tornado to start things off, if you go a Quaswex build, or even a Sunstrike inside of Cogs, can synergize that much better, and it doesn't take that much talent. It's pretty much point click at that point. So I like the pickup, certainly.
Yeah, it's a good combo with Invoker. You're almost guaranteed that Sunstrike to hit, as long as you hit somebody in the Cogs. And Cogs are pretty good about pulling people into them. They have a decent enough system of how they work. Really decent team fight out of top 5 too, with the Clockwork, Invoker, Visage. Good team fight heroes. Juggernaut is picked up from eHug. This is going to be a really exciting game. I like Juggernaut lineups rather. Healing Ward is so good, and team fights for pushing down towers, it provides so much for a team. And I think with Slark and Juggernaut in this game, they have a lot of really mid-game potential and the option to go late game. Top 5 hasn't picked up their carrier choice yet, so we will see that coming out here pretty shortly. And I imagine if we don't see it here, we're going to see a ban out from Team eHug. But they do pick it up. Morphling, some heroes that we don't get to cast too entirely often ever, so this is going to be a good game.
I think that we cast more Juggernaut than we care to admit. I know we saw Morphling at least since the waveform has been augmented in, what was it, week 1? Yeah, something like week 1. I'm more excited to cast Lion, I will say, as well as Slark. I think the mid game is going to be huge right now, and Juggernaut could even provide us a safe lane Slark with an aggressive tri-lane out of Bane Elemental and Lion. 2 easy setup heroes that can provide Jug the opportunity to get into position, and they don't have any stun thus far for top 5. Their 5 role has to have one. It has to at this rate. I don't see how it doesn't. And one thing I was considering while you were going on about those 2 hero picks was the fact that Cogs is a huge element against Slark that I've never really considered before, that might yet save some of these carries as long as he's on the ball and rotating with TP scroll enough over to that top side.
Crystal Maiden does get banned out, and that's a pretty good ban. That is a solid lockdown like you're mentioning that top 5 needs. I like the Lion pickup, especially against the Morphling. It's pretty good because if you can get the Lion in there and burst that Morphling down, it doesn't give him that option to pump strength fast enough. So as long as you have the damage output to at least hurt him enough, Lion can get in there and finish it off. But I do worry that they don't have enough lockdown yet, and I think Team eHug's next hero is going to have to be some form of solid lockdown to stop that Morphling from running rampant. You have a Bane's Fiend's Grip, which is a really long one, but I feel like you need another one to really be able to deal with him. Disruptor is picked up here as well, another very fun hero.
I love me some Raptor, but I don't know how well it fits in. It's gonna all be up to how this Clockwork performs. Really, where Cogs lays down decides this entire team fight. Don't you think? I mean, Disruptor, Cogs, you have 2 elements that restrict movement, and you have a follow-up silence. BKB's might negate a lot of what eHug is going to do against them. I don't think they'll be able to as readily deal the damage. Sometimes you have to have the follow-up damage on hookshot, not just the mini stun and latch and kind of getting in there and trapping him in cogs. They can still, like someone like Slark, especially if he already starts digging into one of your heroes and you're responding as a clockwork, you have to remember that he has Essence Shift stacking away, and because of that, he can get big in a hurry and still have Shadow Dance and Leap later to fall back on and even jump out and get right back on those supports. So it's going to be a volatile lineup for top 5, but I'm excited based on how they've had their team play occur this entire evening. And Mag is your final pickup as the mid-roll.
I like that. I think they needed somebody to get in there to help the team fight for eHugs, but I do worry against that Disruptor. If you can glimpse him back after he RPs, it kind of gets them out of the fight. So it's going to be interesting, but I do feel like they needed a team fight hero picked up as their last. So are we going to see Slark in the off lane, Mag mid, and then a tri-lane with the Lion, Juggernaut, Bane? It seems like that would work. And they're going to go aggressive. Yeah, they're heading to the top lane already.
I told you they were going aggressive. You didn't believe me?
I didn't. I was questioning you. I apologize.
Don't. I'm awesome at this, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, before we get
sometimes I watch Dota before we actually cast Dota, and then I know Dota because I watch. Right?
It helps.
It's like this
Watching
circle.
Dota helps.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I've been watching a lot of Dream League. I'm not gonna lie. It's been interesting. Some of the color commentary is a bit too colorful for my taste, but it's fun to have an array of casters. I like the idea of, try and quad casting and just having conversations about the games that are less serious, like group games. So it's a good environment. That's what I will say. And it teaches me a lot about the game. And it's not to say that I don't know, but it is almost impossible to know every facet of this game. There's so many situations. Like we were saying just the other week, I think it was in week 1, when you do your Dota difference, there's so many subtle differences that you would learn, like when Jug's Omni Slash will actually connect against an LS in Dota 1. Not only that, but in Dota 2, exactly how does it work? Does the damage register? Does it continue? Stuff like that. People really, I think, take for granted in the game, and it's always good to learn those things because subtle nuances are what this game is all about. And it looks like we're going to have our first blood early, 6 seconds into the game. That Jug combo doing work right now. Tries to run away with Grave Chill. Very good early game spell, but Jiggle body blocking all the better, and attaining the first blood due to a well-placed Blade Fury.
Yeah, if he had a body block, maybe he could have gotten away. The range on Blade Fury reaches pretty far, so I don't know if he actually would have been able to, but it was a pretty decent body block. I guess we haven't gone ahead with some introductions this game yet. But top lane, Jigglebilly on the Juggernaut, Ama Sheep Sucks will be on the Lion, Bane getting played by Pandago, Ryubor is on the mid lane, Magnus rather once again, and then Cakes on the bottom lane as Slark.
All right, and for top 5, Shanks over on the clockwork. 1, 2, 3, which is Zon, Morphling, 3, 2, 1, Disruptor, whatever on Visage, and Fly on the Invoker. Again, Gank lining up, Pandango able to get the sleep up. Jiggle is going to spin this one through. Good switch, but whatever. Now is going to be the new target. Decent field. Going to try and get whatever to live, but too late. Jug right on top from the first blood has brown boots as his team continues to dig in. A lot of creeps are going to force Jiggle to back though, and again striking early. eHug up 2-0 on this aggro tri-lane. That is a rough combination for them to choke. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Cakes versus Shanks. It turns out that Cakes takes a ton of damage to the clockwork battery assault, and actually both trade blows going down to about half a side.
Cakes isn't going to have much mana in this lane, to say the least. I think Cogs is going to burn quite a bit of that away throughout the whole game. 1, 2, 3 has a way to get away from these kind of initiations. As long as he doesn't go down too fast, he should be able to get away from the Blade Fury, but I do worry for Disruptor and Visage. It's not going to be a pretty game for them, and if they stay in the woods kind of away from danger, smoke ganking mid lane and pulling the creeps in the jungle, they'll be alright, but then 1, 2, 3 might not be getting the creep kills that he really needs in the lane. So it's kind of an iffy trade if you want to do that or not. But so far, eHug is getting started off very nicely this game with 2-0. Fly in the mid lane once again as that mid lane role that he likes to play. Ryu might have a hard time, but he's got that Shockwave to help keep him in this lane, but coming around is going to be Shanks. If he gets a cogs off here, it's going to be bad. Pushes him back, but that might just be enough. Skewers out. The battery assault is going to deal some damage. One more right click from Fly is going to secure that for them, so some punch back coming from top 5.
Really well placed clogs. I don't think it could have been more appropriate. One step away, forces out one pushback. He tries to skewer away, and the battery assault is enough to shore it up. Just solid teamwork there to have the kill lead for eHug, who is now exploring their options at an additional kill. Jiggle trying to get on top of whatever. Has 2 kills to his name with a poor man's shield. Lots and lots of damage for him early on. Does 58 base damage, but the true test comes to how they set up the Blade Fury. If they can catch someone, it just can't be the Morphling, who has the only real escape ability. The only other one who has that potential is someone like whatever on the Visage with the Grave Chill. Hasn't worked out for him so far, as he's died twice. Only level 1 on Disruptor. Look at the job that they're doing as Jiggle runs right through the tower.
No fear whatsoever. They're looking for an opportunity, but luckily the support's backed off enough to not get hit by any kind of sleep that might come the way. Ryu diving into the tower, not quite sure why. Fly wasn't even hurt enough to be dove upon, so tower damage is going to hurt. Rune is going to spawn here in 10 seconds. They might just fight over it. Fly heading towards the top river to try and scout that out, but Ryu might be able to get there if he had a skewer, but unfortunately he does not. Looks like Fly should get here in time. Skewer 6 seconds still. Fly,
he's looking for a kill.
He is. Cold Snap goes down. Even Pandago getting here. Fly scoops it up very quickly, but now he's in some trouble. Ryu not stumbling over my words, not yet level 6, but the skewer is going to be enough. Wow, that was embarrassing.
Did he eat that missile? Did that connect? It looked like he was just out of range, but it may have yet connected. But he almost goes down nonetheless, going down to 40. Juggernaut again in the backfield, manages to pick off Disruptor, trying to get a hold of whatever. Soul Assumption halves his HP pool. He has his salve if he can get away. Adaptive Strike thrown on him. Salve taken away. He's going to dive on the tier 2 potentially and just throw himself to the wolves? No, instead he wants to live. He's going to try and juke this and actually goes right while Zon goes left. Could he pull off the impossible? Healing Ward comes through for him. I think he should try and micro this a little bit away. They might see the graphic. No, he doesn't. This is such an impressive juke. What is going on? Like, Jiggle just jukes right. They don't even care. Like, they thought he had a port. That's how well-timed it was. How insane.
It's interesting, too, because Healing Ward you can walk through in Dota 2, but Dota 1 you can't walk through it. It is actually something that you can use to block. So if this were Dota 1, you actually could have blocked that spot off there. And although it wouldn't have helped them stay alive, but it might have confused him a little bit. At least when if he tried to like right click into this area, he wouldn't have been able to go in Dota 1. So interesting little tidbit there with Healing Ward and kind of how it's not able to be blocked now. Sheep and Pandago in the woods here, kind of hanging out, but they've got to be careful. 4 heroes on this top lane. Shanks goes in with the hook shot, connects with Sheep sucks. He calls him in as well. 1, 2, 3 getting in there, but Sheep is dead by all means. His ally, Pandago, trying to make a way in the backfield. Glimpse trying to catch up to this Pandago. He runs back for just a moment, but still just barely out of range. But Fly, he's there with the tornado. Cold Snap is applied. Glimpse back into the fray. Cogs to boot from Shanks, and Rio Boris is there. He's going to try and change this around for his team. RP on 3, but no one's there to follow through. He's just got himself in a sticky situation now. Battery Assault is going to deal some damage. Jigglebilly trying to get in on the action. Only level 4, saving his Blade Fury. Blade Fury goes out, gets Shanks, but Ryu goes down in the process. 3, 2, 1 is going to go down as well. Kinetic Field doesn't quite save him in time, and Sheep sucks. He's on the run, flies after him. He does a tornado, gets Sheep in the air, but Pandago's there with a sleep. Is there going to be a follow-up from Jigglebilly to cut off some nice body blocks coming through from Pandago? But Jigglebilly's not going to be able to catch up. Crazy early team fight.
Yeah, he was man-fighting a Morphling. Doesn't quite get the benefit of the doubt and continuing on. Morphling waveformed right over him. I think it deceptively dealt more damage than he was expecting, and he didn't quite have his Healing Ward up yet. So Morphling might have had a bid at that particular exchange if Fly had helped. Fly, Tornado on Bane Elemental, just trying to deal some damage, but they sleep him. They might have a go. Jiggle coming around the bend. Doesn't quite have enough mana yet to Blade Fury, but Skewer back. throws him away. Instead, he has enough mana this time as the jolt up from Bane does connect. EMP following through will not connect as he is now magic immune as Shanks tries to throw a missile. Shanks grabs on Ryu. Ryu subjected actually into the cogs, but follow up ult from Jiggle again due to all the mana influx coming out of Mag. Results in 2 kills against top 5, not looking as sharp in game 3 here as eHug gets off to a good start, just 8 minutes in, 9-4.
Yeah, it is a really good start for them. Their team fight is decent enough too. When top 5 was picking, I feel like their team fight was pretty good. They have a lot of AoE with the Invoker and the Disruptor, and then they have a really solid hard carry in that Morphling. So it gave them powerful strengths throughout the whole part of the game, early game, mid game, and late game, being in that Morphling. But with eHug's final pick on that on that Magnus rather, I felt like it helped them out a lot. To help out with the team fight, you have the Slark and the Juggernaut to deal lots of damage. You have the burst from the Lion to burst down the Morphling or the Invoker. So they have a lot of options, and I think an early game lead is really, really going to be beneficial for the Slark and Juggernaut. And so far, Slark's been on this bottom lane and hasn't really had too much trouble come his way.
I think he's been doing exactly what he needs to be doing. 47 and 16, he's going to shine in the mid game even as the 10-minute marker gets going. We just need to see what happens as top lane, 2 go down, maybe a third, 3-2-1 in trouble. Glimpse back, can he save his own life? Shockwave going to be enough to take him down as Ryu strikes a double kill against top 5. Top lane with the tier 1, about to be under duress. So man, it just continues that Shanks tries to make something happen that isn't there, and as a result his team follows up on a hero like Morphling that needs time to get going. I don't think it's the time for him to follow up. The only one, in my opinion, he should be following around the map is someone like Fly, early on at least, to set things up, who has gone Quaswex. It would allow him to land Tornado and deal some damage into a well-placed EMP that people can't participate in. Doubling up on the mana burn is probably the most beneficial thing they could do, but unfortunately he has found himself topside too much to defend a failing lane ever since the first blood was struck in the water less than a minute into the game.
Goldgraph's sitting in favor of eHug by far, 5k, but top lane we do have an initiation once again. Shanks might be in some trouble. He's running away, but Jigglebilly is going to be trying to shore that out for them. Ryu goes down in the process, though. Jigglebilly after the Disruptor, but Hookshot once again is going to connect. He gets out of the kinetic field with his Blade Fury. It does go through when you're Magic Immune. He's just running for his life at this point. He has Healing Word available, though. Lion's going to try and help him out, but gets himself stuck in a sticky situation. Pandago sleeps out, waiting for Shanks to do something, but no Hookshot is going to be available right now. But in the backfield, Jigglebilly's in trouble. Cold Snap applied. One more hit from anybody. Morphling does not have enough mana. 1 point away from mana, and this is going to be a dead Jigglebilly, but the Clockwork Rocket will secure it instead. Whew. Top 5 making things happen.
Yeah, they needed it, and finally they're getting rolling. We need to see items like Ags eventually evolve onto the Clockwork if he wants to be a menace in these team fights. You have to see the LS finished up on Morphling, so he isn't individually sniped out by the Bane Elemental. Mag, on the flip side, needed to get his blink, and his momentum is now foreshortened due to the fact that he went down even after attaining a double kill on that top exchange. So really good job for top 5 to try and slow down some of that momentum. And as you were mentioning before it got going, Goldgraph was showing about 5k and rising for eHug. It dips down to about 2,500, and just like that, eHug is back into the game. And sometimes that is all it takes early on, as Zon in a lot of trouble. Morphling not able to morph his way out of that one strength-wise. Shanks try to contribute, seeing who he can get a hold of. Good pushback from the Cogs against Jiggle, who does not have his ultimate. Had to expend it for that kill. Ward popped in the trees. Jiggle still trying to live. Kinetic field going to connect this time. No fortunate actual Blade Fury to get him out this time. He's going to use it way too late after he expends wand charges. It is already over. They might yet pick off Lion. Lion getting hook shot. Was lining it up the entire time. Didn't even need to use it to initiate with Shanks. And now it is paying off that he is rotated up here, that Fly has joined the party once and for all, as Ryu is now the one stuck in the mid lane, helplessly watching as his team goes down to yet another team fight and things even more up, and he's trying to make up for it by grabbing a tower with Fly rotating back over into the vicinity.
There's been a lot of action this game. It's been awesome. eHug's got to make sure that they don't continue to overextend, but that kill on Morphling was, I say, worth it. You got the Juggernaut picked off and the Lion as well, but shutting that Morphling is great. Now Shanks gets stuck in the cogs with an RP on top of him. Ryu is going to fight this out, but he's not going to have any luck in doing so. Cakes pops his ultimate. He's going to deal some damage, but it might be time to get out. He does have Sheep coming nearby. Sheep goes down onto Clockwork. Sheep. So that's kind of a tongue twister there. Fly still in the fray, though. We have Raptor joining the fight at this point. Cakes jumps in and reinitiates, but goes down in the process. He had nothing to help save him there. If we can see a glimpse happen, it is actually on cooldown, so Sheep is going to be just fine for the time being. And 2 more kills that goes in the way of top 5. eHug is starting to give out these kills. Kills for everybody.
It's time to see Slark. I mean, eHug needs to finally show up with Slark instead of getting him murdered out. So hopefully they're able to incorporate him into what they're doing right on the top lane. Jug going again. Midas, they are a firm believer in Midas Gaming this entire evening. They've gotten it every single time on Jiggle. He loves him some gold and some XP progression. Ryu looking to see if he can grab right now this top lane, but instead runs into 2 creeps at the last second and is forced to kind of kill them away. 4 rotating up for top 5 as well as 4 for eHug. Finally, a team fight may ensue. The only element missing so far is Bane Elemental, as Fly is the 5th man rotating in on top for top 5. Slark is here, has Midas as well. Both of these heroes do well with it early on in the game. The quicker they can attack, the more they can crit or even essence shift. Clock misses ultimate now. Jiggle going to get away with murder. Cakes may need to force to use his ult. Actually uses it while in mid-air on the tornado. Down goes Mag. Not before locking down Zon, who has too much strength to deal a lot in right-click damage. Ultimate from Jug doesn't yet take out Fly. Bounces off to creeps and affords him the opportunity to get away as they lose 2. Bane late on the rotation, gets sniped out. Glimpse from Disruptor.
Oh my God.
Right back into the fight. Raptor plays coming up big, and top 5 not looking to lay down just yet. Still on the offensive and striking back. Now 2 kills from eHug's lead, and it looks like they are in control so far.
That was a funny jump to the creeps. If he hadn't, he definitely was dead because he would have been in the midst of everybody. So it was funny that he almost survived, but that's kind of the power of Raptor. He can send people back if they're TPing in, and he can send people back if they're TPing out. And it just gives your team opportunity. Fly gets jumped on. It does connect. A very quick EMP into a tornado, or rather a tornado into an EMP. A sentry ward goes down, so Ghostbulk isn't going to slay Ryu. Expends the RP on Shanks. Shanks is going to go down here. And some really good punchback out of eHug. They lost a few before, but they get Invoker and Clockwork, and now this mid tower is looking to be pushed down. It's already very hurt, so there's no way it's going to survive through this push.
This is the time now, once this tier 1 goes down, to see how much eHug can wreak havoc in the opposing top 5 jungle and not give Morphling any time or space to farm. He's already pretty much out of the item game. He may yet get LS. He has 1900, but Jiggle in pursuit. Now in a lot of trouble, thinking he's got the ultimate. 1, 2, 3 jumps away, but no stun forthcoming as his support are not there to shut down the port. But it does buy Morphling some time and space to get away. So Zon rotating over to bottom. Wherever there's free farm, as a carry, you must go. So all the way from top, now down to bottom, and you see following him from there is going to be Slark, and that's how it needs to be. They need to continue to follow him everywhere he goes to shut down this map and make it feel like he has no breathing room. Even if they are unsuccessful in killing him, what it's going to do is force more support to be near him, and therefore his XP is not going to scale as well. But in the meantime, Shanks on the top looking for a hook shot, achieves it right on top of Sheep, who's going to go down, has the battery assault before a well-placed actual Hex there. And still Jiggle in trouble, evades Disruptor ult, but it's not enough. 3, 2, 1 gets the kill, goes on a killing spree, and 2 down for eHug in exchange for the Morphling on bottom as a 3-man gank ensued all the while. And it's tier 2 under duress. Top 5 not able to respond to this one as all of them were present on that top lane.
Bane is so good against Morphling. He's so good. He's already good against most carries with the Enfeeble, but Morphling especially, who's a pretty slippery hero, against Bane, you're locked down for 5 seconds, and that provides your team so much time to deal damage. So Morphling can't even pop strength, he can't replicate away, he can't wait for him. It's so good. I really, really like this Bane pickup to counter against that Morphling, and it's going to be a rough game for Morphling all game. He's sitting at 4,800. He's 5th down on the net worth rather, so he's got a lot of makeup work to do, and with the minuses that are picked up on eHug, I think it's going to be even more hurtful for him because he's just going to be kind of just staying on par with them throughout the whole game and maybe not even getting ahead of them at all.
I think Slark has the green light to take down someone like Disruptor if he gets a hold of him. He does have Arc Boots complete, but still, it's going to be hard for him to get away if Slark is able to lock him through, provided he avoids Glimpse. But we're in a team fight game, and I think eHug has a bigger team fight if Mag can come up big with an RP. We just need to see a well-placed RP. It'll grab all of the heroes in the vicinity down and lock them still, as well as give him the ability to push him out. He has a Blink Dagger to jump in and achieve whatever positioning they desire. It's going to be up to when he goes, though, and they haven't gotten the benefit of the doubt just yet. Visage Familiar is kind of spotting out some shenanigans over in the mid lane as eHug was grouped up, looking to see if they can make something happen. But just as I'm talking about the RP, they are so split up that there was potentially nothing they could do. So Cakes diligently goes back to farming, and again, you see Zon not able to get farm on Morphling. No LS just yet, and we're about to round the 20-minute marker where a carry definitely should have one. And it looks like they're going to 4-man gank on Slark on top. Not an easy customer to kill, but they might have the potential as he has S and Y finished up, not quite shipped to his person. Senses something maybe is going on. Evades that troll. Invoker locks him down. Clock looking to follow up. Cold Snap. Leap. Can Clock get it? Glimpse. Back. Shank still looking for the ultimate. Can he grab it? Finally grabs it. No leap this time yet. And no ultimate as Disruptor shuts the door tight with a Static Storm, all for 1 kill. It doesn't matter. There's no pressure in the outlying lanes, and it gives it time to cool down and come back up for the team fight.
Man, he had no opportunity to pop his ultimate at all. Just every second he got away, top 5 was right on top of him. So just really good pressure that top 5 is doing on Slark. I feel like Slark hasn't made a huge impact this game. He's 2-2-3, 108 creep kills. Rio here on this top lane. Gonna get Dova Pump, but he has some backup nearby. It's gonna be Bane. Bane does have the Fiend's Grip, can sleep one, Fiend's Grip the other. Tornado is gonna go out. There goes the sleep. They're not sure if they want to initiate on this. 3-2-1 is there. RP used on nothing. This is gonna be the end of the fight. That sucks. That's so unfortunate. Finger goes out. They do manage to kill Clockwork. Magnets goes down the process. Jugobilly looks to be in some trouble, trying to drain some mana to be able to be effective in this fight as Sheep sucks. Throws out the Impel, but much too late as Jugobilly is already down. Pandago is going to go down here. Slarps jumps in. Dark Pact into a leap, and then 1 goes down, 2 to follow on top of that. 3 down for top 5. Even with that whiff out of the RP, they still managed to take down 3. Yeah, right? They did fine. Imagine if that RP had hit, though.
Just a huge combo breaker. It's subtleties. That's what Dota is all about. The little subtle plays that you just don't anticipate, and he didn't see the support throw a projectile his way. It stunned out the real quick. Bane going down mid lane. Port forth coming out of Mag. Can he jump and grab Zon back and actually stunned out by Visage Familiar, so nothing's gonna happen. But the little subtleties make all the difference in this game, and they're so hard to notice everything at once. And you see the cooldown on the Blink Dagger, come through and not allow him to blink in, and he thought he already had it off, and therefore he expends the RP as a follow-up, thinking he's already blinked, but instead he was stagnant in the trees and doesn't even manage to luckily hit 1. Instead, luck has not been on eHug's side in all of these games.
And it happens to the best of them. It honestly does. It's such a little thing to easily mistake thinking that you had blinked in there and not realizing that the Blink Dagger just barely went on cooldown. And so it's such a small window, and unfortunately sometimes you just get hit by that. But again, it wasn't a terrible fight for eHug, and just with that RP, I feel like their team fights are going to be really, really good, assuming Ryu can actually get it off. But so far, it's been another close game. I don't think we've had 3 games that have been this close in CEVO yet, and these are good contenders. Top 5 has had a great run in CEVO so far. I believe they are 3-1, and eHug is 4-0. So looking to break them down and give eHug a loss, but we'll see if they can do just that. As we're in 22 minutes into this game, 30k to 39k in the gold graph, so a lead for eHug, and a small lead in the EXP as well, sitting at a 4k advantage. Coming back to the base quickly to try and defend against this push, but I don't know if eHug is going to get in a bad position to allow top 5 to pick them off like this. Look at them. They're getting geared up for this, making sure they're completely spread out to not get hit by the Invoker and disrupt their AoEs. But now Ryu goes in there with a Blink Dagger. It actually goes off this time. RP is applied. Sheep, or rather, cyclones himself into the air. Shanks gets in there, doesn't trap anybody in with him. Disruptor ult goes off. Cakes within the midst of all these heroes, but can't actually get anything done. Now 1-2-3 is joining the fight, and eHug forced back up. A nice hook shot onto Cakes. Cakes is down. 1-2-3 getting in there on the kill. Sheep is going to be soon to follow. He has 2 heroes nearby. In the backfield, Juggernaut is chasing down the supports and manages to pick off 2 with his ultimate. Now fleeing from 1-2-3. They got to kill this healing ward to be able to kill him off. Attacks it in the waveform. 1-2-3 does. And now Pandago, not in the best position, was hoping to help out Jiggle Billy, but might have got himself in a sticky spot himself. But makes it out of there alive. Was that a 2-for-1? They took down the Slark and the Lion. So 2-for-2.
4 staff coming up in terms of items from Mag. Looking for Ags is going to be Clock, who hasn't item progressed in a while after Mechanism. Shanks right now looking for another kill, this time on Jiggle. Familiar is here to follow it up. Instant crit on one of them. And that's big, but will Jiggle get away? He can spin and port. Is he going to port? He needs to start right now. There it is. Can he get away in time? Waveform forward, and he manages to barely get away by the skin of his teeth. Lucky him, as the LS has finally been finished up on Morphling prior to that particular engagement. Already on eHug's side, the supports grabbing 4 staff as well, 4 staff apiece on each of them. With Slark, I mentioned he finished up Sny earlier, is still looking for an additional item, has 2,500 to his name, and that's big, considering Jug also has S and Y as well as Vlad, so that's where they're rolling in terms of the money. A lot of it is indeed coming from Midas, but top 5 still finding answers. Yule's set up on the Invoker, partially playing into that. Visage trying to do something soon with Ags. He microed them well in Game 1, and that's what led to Game 1 top 5 taking a victory. But Shanks is being a huge difference maker right now in Game 2. Look for him to have Ags within the next 6 minutes, I want to say, if he's lucky, and gets a couple of kills here. And now Gank coming down on his person. Can he wiggle his way out? He cannot. Cogs right now in on Ryu. Will they follow up? His team trying to come up. He latches on to 3-2-1. 3-2-1 needs to throw down a connected field. He's getting blocked. Finally does. Last second, Shanks is asleep. Fiend's Grip applied. RP on 1, not 2. Sleep up on 3-2-1. Trying to wake Shanks up. Now ultimate on Disruptor. Glimpse back. Cogs blocked the stairs. He doesn't get glimpse. He actually ends up that someone else in the fight got glimpse. I thought it was on Mag initially. Jiggle follows up. Ultimate Jug in the fight. Fly trying to buy time and space. Zon joins in. Jiggle taking a lot of damage. Doesn't have any immunity. Stretching beyond this. Both of his spells will be out, but he packs a wallop when he gets on someone and is allowed to just expend right clicks, especially when those right clicks turn into RNG crits. Cakes now next on the list. Shanks 8 seconds away from an ult. Adaptive strike on him, forced to ult him out. Familiar's looking for a stun target. Shanks can come up huge again with the hook shot. We're talking about a world of difference, but instead it looks like they're backing off. Jiggle looking to make his way in. Lion stunning down. Huge Cogs again out of Shanks. Prevents forward momentum. Jiggle not able to do anything, just sits there, and Blade Fury's helplessly but still in pursuit. eHug looking for something. Shanks again the target or subject of interest. Hook shot on Slark takes him out. Shanks still man-moding his way through, will go down, but not before he deals a plethora of damage. Jiggle forced out. Support on the run. Can they force staff away? It is up. Bane needing to jump out. The replicant is up on Morphling just in case, but they won't even need it to get away. They are the aggressors. 4 gonna go down for eHug here in a matter of moments. 4 staff forward. He doesn't port immediately and therefore will look to go down. Both familiars expend. He doesn't know that. He dies, and that is it. As top 5 go up nearly in the kill count. They almost even things out, 25 to 26, but what an evolution of events. Just when it looks like eHug was beating it down and chasing them through. 2 cogs from Shanks. I cannot tell you how much this guy has been the shining star for top 5, easily the MVP of the night, easily.
It disrupts the fight. It really does. If you can't get your heroes in there, it's great. With 4 heroes down, top 5 is going to attempt to go ahead with this Roshan now. And with the medallion from whatever, it should go down pretty quickly. Warfling is here. I was going to say, 2 supports can't really do Roshan on their own. But 1, 2, 3 is here to help out with that. And it seems that eHug might know what's going on. No, Slark's just going to creep, so they have no idea. Roshan is going to go down here, potentially. In the backfield, though, Ryu is kind of dealing with Shanks and Fly. Shanks already used the hook shot, so he's not going to be able to get in. And now we see rotations. Ryu, he knows what's going on. He blinks in, but he's alone. RP on just the disruptor. Unfortunately, the grave chill comes out. Ryu up in the air, and he's dead. There was no follow through with that RP. Despite it only hitting 1, there was no one else there. I think he jumped the gun a little bit. But the fight's not over. Shanks gets in there. He's Fiend Script as well. Kings is pounding down on him. 1, 2, 3 in the backfield, trying to pick off Sheep. But now, in the Roshan pit, they're still contesting over Roshan, but they've got to deal with each other's heroes first. Jigglebilly in some trouble, completely out of mana from that EMP, so no ultimate can come from him. Up in the air is Pandego. He tries to force stuff up the cliff, barely misses it. Unfortunately, Sheep is in there. He's all alone. Buyebacks are coming forth from eHug, but they can't get into this fight soon enough. Ryu and Cakes back into the fight. 1, 2, 3 is still ready to get this going on. He's got his strength pumped enough. Oh, these team fights are very long-winded, and they're insane. They are some really good fights, and Roshan still lives. Cakes is wanting to take him off here, considering he's so hurt, and I think they can manage to do so. With Clockwork still down, there's going to be no initiation from them. EMP is going to come out, burning some mana. Jigglebilly pops his Blade Fury to try and avoid that. Roshan's going to go down. They've got to pick it up. Juggernaut gets the Aegis and the kill. Shanks gets in there and gets blitzed out immediately. Now he's going to come back to life. Or rather, not come back to life. He's dead for good. Rio jumps in there, is what I was trying to say.
Jiggles coming back, though.
Jiggles is coming back, and that's great. He has his ultimate still. Ooh, Fly 1, 2, 3 are going to be in some trouble if they get ulted here. Rio is still in the fight, but can't do anything. Jiggle needs to get that ultimate off, but he's not quite sure. He's losing vision, I think, honestly, in the Roshan pit here. But he is going to chase down Pandego, trying to sleep somebody in time. Gets the sleep off on 3, 2, 1. Jiggle still trying to make some things happen. Ults the illusion from Morphling.
But it doesn't matter. It goes to the real.
Oh, that's good. That's good that it jumped.
Oh, Jesus.
Fly gets
you dodge a bullet.
Right? He goes down. Oh, man.
Oh, man, Jiggle's still on 3, 2, 1, trying to take him down. 3, 2, 1 goes down. Double kill for Jiggle. Just by happenstance. What is going on?
This game is going on?
Dead even. Dead even. Roy did the wave right out of the pit and just like high-fived his teammates as he killed a mag, and Jiggle was like, dude, like we weren't done fighting. And they're so pissed off that they continue searching for kills to the end of the earth and find 2 more, but still, like, how much can you sacrifice? This is just insane. The amount of positioning, it matters when you're not even done with the fight yet. You see low HP heroes and you go, well, I'm pretty sure that they've expent just about everything, right? No, Jug at this point has ultimate again and turns it on its head, and just, I don't know where this game is going at this point. Both teams have such a strong, just passionate team fight this entire game, and the plays are non-stop.
I have no idea, but this game alone just shows us how exciting the main playoffs for CEVO are going to be. They're going to be so good. When you have teams like this, easily 2 of the best teams in CEVO right now, top 5 and eHug, when they duke it out, man, they go into it. Full swing. There's no holding back for either team. There's definitely some revenge to be had on both sides, and like you said, it's a completely even game, 33 to 32. The gold difference is just 10k, and we're 30 minutes into this game, and that's not really a huge difference. The XP is even closer. Hookshot goes out, does not connect this time with Cakes, but he probably would have been in some trouble if that had connected. He's gonna leap back to his team and get within the safety of a team fight that could potentially happen here. Rocket is gonna scout things out. Jigglebilly might get caught out here with the Cyclone. There goes the Cyclone. Has even more to slow him down while his team gets here. Jigglebilly, kind of baiting this out. He does have his ultimate. He's got creeps nearby. He could ult, but waiting for that cyclone to be expended. Ults the creeps, goes on to Shanks. Shanks traps two. One his ally, the other the enemy. Rio has already expended his RP with his team around, so it worked out fine. Shanks is going to go down here, but Battery Assault doing some damage to Jigglebilly. 1, 2, 3 on the run now. If he gets hit by a pounce, he's going to be into some trouble. Stun from the Lion is going to stop his TP from going through. Wicked 6 streak goes to Bane. Not the best, but the fight still continues. Cyclone up in the air. It's going to be Fly. He's still trying to get away, but he's all out of tricks ever, so he goes down. Almost a 5-man wipe. Did the Visage go down at any point? I don't think he did. He did? Okay.
Yeah.
So he bought back.
He bought back, yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what it was. So Visage is the only one alive right now. This gives eHug the opportunity to finish off the game as Ryu came up big at the beginning of that last team fight. 3-man RP. That's exactly what I was talking about in the mid lane ages ago. It seems like about 15 minutes ago when he had that blink and ability to kind of maneuver the team fight, but finally catches 3 of the correct heroes in Shanks, Morphling. Zon lived quite a while in there, but they aren't able to get the racks here as top 5 are kind of forcing out an additional buyback, at least out of Fly. And Zon coming up right around the corner makes them not want to tempt it with that mag ult down, but all the difference in the world right there was placed on that Fly, catching out 2, Bane and Lion, right on top of an EMP. EMP connects over to Sheep, glimpse now, right back on Shanks. Shanks tries to trap him in, comes up just short and not able to take him down. Has the hook shot though, if he elects to follow this one up, and not very many cooldowns have come back yet for eHug. Fiend's Grip, of note, just came back online, but it wouldn't matter if he was the subject of interest against the Clockwork, who just throws up Battery Assault and gets on top of him and stays on top of him. So still able to kind of wiggle their way out of that was eHug, and top 5 looking to bite back, as these have just been haymakers between the two sides. They need to avoid that mag ult, and I think that presence just showed them that they need to go back to what they were doing at the beginning of the game, which is stay spread out, force eHug to not have a focus target, because they really don't have a ton of damage except for Jug.
Yeah, Slark's still trying to get there. He had a slow start, but he's definitely gotten back into this game. I do have to commend 123 for staying in this game so well. It hasn't been a huge farm-heavy game because there's been so many fights this early on, but he's sitting at 12k still, and he's managed to secure himself 9 kills to his 4 deaths. And sitting, looking at the net worth, he's 12k, and there's just the Slark and the Juggernaut ahead of him. So just 3k behind both of those heroes, who on top of that also have Midas's 34 minutes into this game. So 123 has done a fantastic job staying in this fight, but a sleep though does go down on Pandago. TP is coming forth. It's going to be Jigglebilly. This is going to be bad for 123. The creeps come in though, going to save him from the Juggernaut ultimate. BK Beast doing some damage to Fly. Rio in there hoping to get his RP off, lands it on 2. Really good initiation on him. 1, 2, 3 hops out of there. Might try and get skewered back. He does get skewered back. They're gonna get the kill on 1, 2, 3. He's out of escape mechanisms. Shanks and Fly on the run now. The only 2 survivors of top 5 of Cakes is hot on Shanks' hill. The leap does land. Dark Path is gonna get him. Shanks gonna try and save himself with the cogs, but actually just delays an inevitable while he's trapped in there, and the rest of the heroes can catch up to him. They're gonna kill him. He should try and deny himself to creeps. No! He jumps out with a hook shot onto Fly, but Jigglebilly doesn't want this to go down. We're gonna see an ultimate. He gets pushed back. Couldn't get the ultimate off in time. It is a fairly short range, but Rio is still after them. This fight, they just keep going. There's no end to him. Rio gets it, or I'm a Sheep Sucks gets in there, but he's out of mana, so he can't even sheep or stun after the Force Staff comes down, trying desperately to drain mana so that he just has something. Even Pandago doesn't know what's going on. What are these fights?
I don't know. eHug took it convincingly. I'm pretty sure when you throw in Lion, Mag, and Ags, you're talking for some pretty disgusting, transpirings, and the fact that Finger touched on 2 of the main heroes was a huge reason that they took that team fight, and they're just so nutty the way they're evolving and fighting over next to nothing even. These aren't even necessarily over towers at this point because of how much these teams are able to run. It's coming down to mobility, and Shanks is just... he's the unkillable. He's Shanks the Indomitable this game. He's 8 for 10. But you wouldn't imagine that by the way he's playing. He's literally a 4th of the deaths but his contribution cannot be, undervalued. Jiggle Billy right now is in the jungle, hasted for a moment longer, just expires. Cakes now the subject of interest. Good again, just flawless execution of these hooks. It's just unreal. Shanks might even go down. Force Staff out. Now Cakes is trying to force back in. They glimpse him right back into the middle. Jug trying to ult through all of these heroes. Manages to deal some damage. 3-2-1 goes down. As a result, Zon trying to get on top of Jiggle. Jiggle still has Aegis trying to leech up life with the Vlads plus some crits. Pandago Fiend script gets canceled and he's murdered on top, just as was 3-2-1. So an exchange of support. And again, none of these carries quite strong enough. Even though we see a shotgun-oriented Morphling, none of these carries are strong enough to kill one another. And it's unfortunate. And that's why we're seeing just so much tank come out of these heroes. Just wait, though. If you let this Morphling go any later, he's going to murder the hell out of eHug. And there's nothing they can do about it.
It does get scary for eHug. Unless they get off just a flawless team fight, they should be able to kill the Morphling, but he is getting stronger. And with Shanks in this game, it's hard to get off those flawless team fights. Like you said, his hook shots are spot on every single time. His cogs are spot on every single time. And that's tough to deal with. He is going to spot out Cakes here. Can't quite go on, and unfortunately Rio picks up a double damage rune, and they might want to fight with this. They do. The Bane just now respawning, can TP to the mid lane and join the fight here pretty shortly. And with that Magnus having the DD, it's going to be brutal. He can do some decent damage now when he RPs. Shanks is hoping to get in a good position here for this fight as they defend the tower. And let's take some bets on how long this fight's going to last. I'm going to say 1.5 minutes. That's going to be how long this fight is going to be going for. Because it's been pretty long. Like you said, both teams' carries are so tanky at this point. It takes a really long time for them to go down. Cakes in the mid lane. Baits out a cogs out of Shanks. But Reoboras, he's gearing himself up for this blink. Has the opportunity, if he can see it, he's going in, lands it on Morphling, that's the most important one to hit, skewers him back into the midst of everybody else. They can't get him down fast enough, the Fiend's grip is holding him still, he goes back, he's out of there, he's just fine. Jiggle Billy doing some damage to the rest of the heroes, the two supports goes down. Cakes on the hunt for 3-2-1. Clockwork goes down as well. This does not look good for top 5. They saved Morphling, but it took everything in them in order to do so.
Thank God they had buybacks as they try to get involved again back into this. Cakes a little bit overextended, doesn't have ultimate for another 39 seconds. Good stun there from Visage right now on top of 4. With one single familiar. Jiggle forced the Blade Fury away. Cakes overextended. They pull out Fly. Fly already have health. Trying to get away. Snuffed out by an ultimate from Sheep with that Axe. Huge amounts of damage as Shanks still gets in here. Cakes stealing so much in Essence Shift that he is just on a mega kill streak. Tries to get on top of Zon, who is finally on the roll that he isn't the focus. No RP to lock him down. Will follow it up. Maybe a double kill on Bane as they continue to try and lock him down. The LS spent out. 1, 2, 3 fighting for his life. Zon finally ends up going down and they are chasing 3-2-1 and that is game. No buybacks to their name. Jiggle Billy follows 3-2-1 into base. Another kill forthcoming. Brain Sap to finish it off from Pandago. And finally, eHug string it together when they need it most and finish out a strong game 3. I just can't imagine that they don't call GG in this instance. Phenomenal play to start the game. Rough mid-game. Follow it up with a strong late. And that's all you need to get it done is a handful of team fights. And what a player Mag has been. Morphling needed to be the only one to lock down. And they found him twice. And it resulted in just an all-out win.
So I just had that aha moment when I realized that RP in combo with Lion's Ags, that AoE finger when everybody's gonna be used up. I know. It was before that, like you were talking and I thought of it before, so I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was just like, oh my god, that's so brutal. I should have realized it when they were picked up even in the draft, and I didn't. So that was my aha moment.
Do you even patch notes, bro? That was the biggest Reddit discussion in the world. There was even like a video on YouTube made about it.
I know. And that's why it's so stupid. That's what I'm saying. It was my aha moment because it's like, it was so blatantly obvious. And for some reason, I just never saw it this game. So I feel like I feel a little sheepish right now that I didn't realize that was going on.
Trying to throw you a bone. Part of the underlying story of this game is the fact that the support roles haven't been able to get enough gold against the Slark, who is now snowballing super late into a game where you imagine he would have run the mid game, but instead he's being an influential factor. Having gone Eye of Scotty, increased health pool allows him to Essence shift even more and go to toe with a hero like Shanks, where he's not worried about his HP pool in terms of living. He's also able to shadow dance away from battery assault inside of the cogs, which has resulted in him coming up huge in many of these team fight victories. So always worth keeping an eye on what's happening, as these underlying stories really are the tail of the tape in terms of everything else. Yes, your Morphling does get caught out, but it's the individual contributions that matter most. And unfortunately, Shanks' individual contribution has been huge. I don't believe he's missed all but maybe 1 or 2 hooks this entire game, and still finds himself behind an 8-ball with just 1 Rax to go. They will fight this through, even though it's pretty much said and done. Because it's game 3, and why not? They've already put up such great fights all evening, and you know, we've seen crazier things happen, so never give up attitude is great in game 3. I love it, but we'll see how much eHug is willing to go out of position. If they can find Ryu before Ryu finds them with someone like Shanks, maybe a good situation as initiation comes out of Ryu. Stun down on 2. Shanks immediately eating a lot of that lion damage. Forced to pop mech. It won't keep Fly alive. He'll stay alive. 3, 2, 1 goes down. Bane in the middle of everything. Sleeps up Shanks. Whatever. Now next on the list is Zon has already been taken out, and that is game 5, man. White. GG called. eHug the victor this evening. For those of you guys sticking around, real quick, I'm just going to say, please follow the channel at Play CEVO-1. We also cast on Play CEVO-2, as well as many other great casting groups, from Chicago Ted and Toffees, who've been with us all night, to Healy Umbrella, and many, many more. But it's been a fun night. I'll let Prove outro and do all the rest of the plugs. Thanks so much.
Aww.
Oh, and Gorgon the Wonder Cow. Sorry, I knew I was forgetting some. That's why I was going to let you do the rest of the plugs. So
That's all right.
I'm going to step out for the night. Thank you so much for a fun night and hanging out with us, guys. 500 viewers on Play CEVO-2, which is the 3rd CEVO channel, is pretty cool by me.
Yeah, really awesome night. You guys were great. I was able to glance over at the chat every once in a while. I try not to read it too much, but when I did glance over, it seemed like everybody was just talking about the game, theory crafting a little bit, kind of poking fun at some things that Ever and I do every once in a while. So it was a good night. Thanks so much for joining us. If you do enjoy our cast, be sure to follow at CEVO, first of all, to make sure you're notified of when any of our casters go live. Myself, you can find me at ProveDota, and Ever is also at EverX on Twitter. I also have a YouTube channel. We were kind of talking about the Dota Difference series that I have earlier on. So if you want to check that out, be sure to go over to youtube.com/ProvesReviews. I would love to have you guys check it out, and hopefully you can learn a few things about what Dota used to be like and still is like in Dota 1 and how it's changed in Dota 2. Other than that, guys, thanks for such a great night. Thanks to the mods that were hanging out with us in the chat tonight and kind of helping the flow of the chat continue. But again, it's been a great night. Please follow the channel. It really does help us out and make us extremely happy. Ever and I will be back on Monday on Play CEVO-1. Also check out Play CEVO-2 on Monday, as we will have Helium there alongside with Chicago Ted, I believe. So great casters. Make sure to check them out. Have a great night, and more importantly, a great weekend coming up here.